Hello. How's the conference going so far? Um, while we wait for other people to join us and before we begin the talk, I'd like to know, do you have any expectations from this talk? Like, what are you expecting to hear? I know this can't be summarized into one or two words, but I'm just curious before we start, and then I guess at the end of the session, I'll ask you how much they meet your expectations. Hello. I think we'll wait just like a minute or two for people to come in, and then we are starting. So don't go anywhere. Hi, hi. I've been to Vitaly's talk before this one, so it's actually kind of cool that we are on a same day because I think this is kind of a continuation on what he was talking about. Has any of you been to Vitaly's talk today? Well, maybe someone wants to tell us which country you're coming from. I can go first. Um, Oh yeah, I saw your question, Francesca. Really, really good ones. I kind of wanted to go into discussion with you there about them. Um, all right, I think we are 2 minutes past. Sure. Um, okay. Yeah, this is a good question. I hope I'll be quick with the presentation so I can answer that one in the end. If not, let's meet in the gather room and then we can talk about it. All right, I'm going to start now. So as you saw from the title of the presentation, we're going to talk about the strategic design decisions today. And I wanted to be a little bit more straight to the point about this, like, show you how exactly you can be strategic about your design decisions. And this is just like one of the options, like one perspective, because I think there's a lot of talk lately on the web about strategic design, or it's just something that I'm very interested in. So it might be that it's just my bubble talking about it, and the algorithm all the time sends me the same content. But I kind of feel that people are very confused, like whoever is not in this role, that people are confused about what exactly does it mean, or how do I all of a sudden become strategic, or that there's a lot of work to be done so that you can kind of start being strategic, whereas it's the other way around. You kind of bring strategy to your work through some small steps, and then you kind of building upon that. So that's what we're going to discuss today. But before that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. If you haven't seen me around the web, my name is Tatjana Zavadja. I have two girls. They're quite little. One is barely 2 years old. The other one 5. I was born and raised in Serbia, but I've been living in Finland for the past 7 years. And my formal education actually is in architecture. But after the internship I did in New York at the beginning of my career, I decided to switch to software design. So my first job was in the software company, and I've been in UX design for over 10 years now. Now I have experience from different industries. It's always like about the product design, so it's either web or mobile applications. I barely ever tapped into marketing design, but I was working a lot with cryptocurrency, all kind of investments, even wine investing, and those kind of asset class. And then I kind of made a full circle and came to back to the real estate, because currently I'm working on the AI application for the past 3 years that allows users to scan the property uh, and um, and then like our AI helps them get the layout of the room in like less than 5 minutes. So it's very interesting. It's kind of connecting my two passions, architecture and AI. So I've been very passionate working on it for the past 3 years, and I still am. Apart of that, I'm doing content creation, and I'm also educating designers on how to be more strategic in their work. I also organized UX Designers Camp 2 years in a row. It was like a week of remote work in a rural setting, and we had like we were working on our daily jobs throughout the day, and then in the evening we had talks and workshops. So it was like quite fun and very like adventurous between a small group of designers. And on a personal level, I love to be active and I like to spend time outdoors. So that's a little bit about me, like just to get to know me, and we can dive into the talk. Like this is something that I prepared for you today. I want to show you on the actual example, and that's why we are starting from the customer journey, because then we want to tap into two steps that I find very important in the customer journey, which are activation and acquisition. And then we're going to see a little bit about the tracking, like how that can be done, and what does it mean actually to have data-informed design decisions. And then we are going to dig a little bit deeper for the third part of the presentation and to see what is the correlation between web and mobile application in case your company has both. And then you kind of have to shift users between them. So to start with the customer journey, as I said, like we're just going to go quickly over this one, show the funnel, and then see how different steps can help us track growth and drop-offs, and then also from the design point of view, how we can affect them, and then how that help us participate in the business strategy and business decisions, like how that serves us as a tool to go and talk to the business department and leadership. So not to scare you off, like sometimes like people, I know what you're imagining when I say customer journey in your head, maybe more like a user journey map. So this would be more popular in the industry as a marketing funnel. And just to quickly explain, I only put here 5 steps, but you might find marketing funnels with way more steps, also loyalty in the end. Like here, I only put the main ones. Awareness is when customers are just becoming familiar with your product. So they might hear about it somewhere. And just remember here for the third part of our talk today that they may hear about it online. So maybe they found your application somewhere and it's like very easy to click on it. Or they might have heard about it in the physical environment. So from another person, from a colleague at a conference. And now they have to switch from physical environment to online, and it's very important to know like which device they're going to use. Like, are they on their phone or are they going to start journey with your product on desktop? Then they are considering, they are looking at your marketing website. Maybe they are reading reviews from other users on Reddit, on Quora, on Facebook, which are my favorite channels to do the research, like to see what people are talking about my brand, like not what I want to show on a marketing presentation, but what people who are using us are talking about us. The acquisition part, it's very important, like to define what would be the event in your journey, in your customer journey that you consider acquisition. For me, most of the apps that I worked on in the past 6 or 7 years, I would say like for me, acquisition was profile creation, because none of those apps I worked on were allowing for guest account. So profile creation would be the moment when we acquire the lead person who is just interested in our service to be our user. Then activation is the moment in the app when they do the core action of the like for the first time. And then after that is retention, when they are continuing to use us over time. And then, of course, the volume of use might be different. So now as you see that this is the reverse pyramid, that means that like at each step, we have a huge drop-off of people interested, or like first interested in our application, then the ones who are considering us, those ones who actually proceed to create a profile, then actually activate the application and continue using us. So each one of these drop-offs, depending, like that's actually the moment where the designer has a big influence, and it's actually important how we, what is the product strategy that we come up with, and that's something that we can present first to the product team and then to the higher management level, and then explain with numbers, of course, how each one of these steps, if we do it well, can affect the percentage of drop-offs and can, of course, affect growth. And I'm also, like, in the second part of the presentation, I'm going to show you in a case study how we are actually going to track these events. So to continue, I put like some simple case studies so that we can talk about very concrete stuff when we are giving examples. And I wanted to tackle a little bit the onboarding. So if you were listening to Vitaly's presentation that was just before mine, and then he was mentioning this like crossroads in the city where if you make a change or you manage to improve those crossroads, you are affecting the largest number of people because that's where everyone is kind of passing, whereas I guess individual homes are a little bit more intimate and tackling smaller number of people. So if we are thinking about acquisition and activation, onboarding is something that every user has to go through. And that was the easiest for me to present to you via examples. And just like, please keep in mind that none of these examples are the apps that I'm actually working on. I just like chose them for very specific and long onboarding that they have. And when I say conditional, it means that they have like a lot of questions and a lot of requirements from the customer in order to continue with the application. So the first one, the Face Yoga application, you really don't have to put a lot of effort into understanding what's on the screens, like read the text or anything. I just wanted to show you that how many screens there were after you download the application from the store. How many screens there were just like explaining you what it is about and asking for permissions right away before user was even able to understand what this app is about and what it has to offer before the user accepts to give some of the personal data away. In the next screens, it's immediately starting asking for email and then like a bunch of personal questions to give you the guide experience. The email input was the only step that I was able to skip in the beginning, but then all the other questions you have to go through. Like there's no other way to access the content than answer each single question. And then I'll tell you there was 36 of them that I counted. So 36 questions and then pieces of information about what Face Yoga is about and how it can help you, like to convince you why you should continue using this application and why you should subscribe right away. So basically, all the entire journey was optimized to kind of convince you to convert as soon as possible. And I just wanted you to pay special attention to this payment moment because that's the event where that's like the biggest drop-off usually that happens not only in the onboarding but in the entire customer journey funnel or marketing funnel. Because when users are asked to add the payment method, and then regardless whether they were able to use the application for free in the beginning or they haven't even activated, didn't even do the main activity in the app and were convinced that you can actually provide some benefit to them, when they are asked to add the payment, then number of question comes in like, will I be able to cancel this easily? Because they've been burned so often in the past, and they know that whenever they subscribe, it's always like super easy to subscribe. But then when they want to cancel the service, like it's like super difficult, and they have to call the customer service. They have to create profiles, like log in into different web portals, and because of that they are very careful when they are giving their credit card information to someone. So we could now discuss, like, of course, this is not the app that I'm working on, so I can't tell you what was the business strategy behind this, but one thing that we can notice is that their main strategy is definitely to convert the customer to a paying user. So it's not important to them to increase the number of customers in the app, to have like as many free users as possible. It's only important to have the paid users. So it's just like, we're not going to discuss for the purpose of this presentation whether it's a good strategy or not. It's only important to notice that that's like the business strategy that was defined, and then you as a designer can create like a number of events that you can track and then see how successfully you as a company are succeeding this business strategy. And that's something, then you can have the numbers that you would go to the higher ups and show them if there are like any improvements to be made, and of course suggest what those improvements would be. I just wanted to point also like one thing that I think they are doing well. So they're all the time like showing these options, like how to, you know, how great for you is to subscribe right away. And just to mention that I was allowed, after those 36 screens of questions and permissions, I was allowed to access the content on a homepage. And then we have this little sticky banner at the bottom of the screen that's telling you that you got a gift. If you open that gift and then you still decide not to subscribe, they are going to, if you see on the last screen, they are going to keep the banner, but now it's not sticky anymore. It's at the top of the screen, and they are allowing you to browse to the content. So it's not annoying user anymore, but it's still there to remind you that you can still use your gift and get a discount if you want to subscribe. The con of that, for me at least, was that when I'm kind of presented with so many different prices and then there are discounts here and there, I kind of start wondering, okay, like, is this the best time for me to convert? Or maybe along the way I get even better discount, you know, if they kind of, if the company notices that I'm not converting yet, they are like following this data, like, you know, maybe they get desperate not to lose me as a customer and they offer me even bigger discount. So that's something to be careful about, and something that you as a designer can help, like with collaboration with the data scientists, you can help investigate, is the strategy working well, or do you need to tweak it around? And when we're talking about drop-offs, this is something that I always create, like in each company that I work for. Sometimes it's rather difficult if you don't have data scientists to help you out. For example, what I used to do is to ask these events from developers, to get them from Firebase, and then I would put, like, I would give them the list of the events that I want to track. So I would tell them exactly like at which point, like, you know, where the customer clicks and which events I want them to track for me. Then they would give me the numbers of unique visitors and unique events, and I would put them into Google Sheet and just create this very simple graph, so I would know like where are the biggest drop-offs. But then of course, if you have data scientists in a company, then everything gets much easier. You still hand them off the same list of events, but then the data scientist is going to feed you with this data like once per month. I think it's enough, so you can track how your funnel is performing. So for example, if you're tasked by your boss, the manager, to create or to improve the onboarding, like, these are, I think, all the things that you need to keep in mind when researching and conducting the design audit, like what's working and it's what is not working in connection to the business strategy, and then suggest what needs to be tweaked around. And if we look at this graph, like, you would notice those, like, the biggest drop-offs that I circled for you was when the user is asked to create an account, and then the next one when they are asked to add a payment method. I don't know, like, here I put only as a sample that there are 10 questions altogether. We had 36. So my strongest assumption would be that there would be a drop like around the question 5, for example, then maybe the next one around 10. So like whenever people kind of get annoyed and they don't know how many steps there are altogether, and they're kind of thinking to leave the flow. But then like Face Yoga application actually had some kind of fun facts that they would publish there to kind of convince you to stay and to continue and to let you know that this is important for you. So this is like one step to the strategic way of doing design, or like strategic way of making design decisions. And then basically whatever tweak that you make in design, it's important to have this data or like these events at least like 1 month before your improvement goes live, so you can track like what was before and what was after, like if your design has in any way impacted like any of these events, like if it decreased drop-offs, and if it's in any way improving whatever is the business strategy. This was another example, and we'll just run through it quickly. I just wanted to show you how it works when there's like less questions, and we had like the previous example was, I guess, the winner with a number of questions. But if you're using Headspace, which is a very popular meditation app, they are also not allowing you to continue to see the content unless you create the account. And once you do, there's like a few onboarding screens and then also a few questions. But the important thing here is that you cannot skip them. So you have to go through all the screens and kind of through the eyes of the of the company, learn what is the benefit for you, and then hopefully also convert. Like if you see here, there is on the first and on the last screen, there is again the promotion of the subscription. And like I guess here people are kind of already understanding that like, okay, I'm not going to get like a lot of use of this app before I actually go and pay. And I would say that Headspace had this like for a long time now, so I would assume that it's working for them. But they are also a very popular app on the market. They kind of already have the reputation. But if it's like a very new app, then I would say this would be one of the main deal breakers, or like one of the major drop-off points for new users to pay and commit before they even got to learn what the app is about and if it's useful to them. And just something I wanted to mention about the discounts, as we've kind of already seen them in many places in these examples. The reason why you're getting discounts all the time is because the businesses want you to go out of the app and into the web browser to pay to actually to their web application to pay for the app, because in that way stores are not collecting the percentage. So basically the percentage they would give away to Google Play or App Store is something that they can now give to the customer if the customer goes around to confirm subscription, but not through the stores. And this is kind of an intro into the third part of the presentation, where we are like digging a little bit deeper into transitions between devices and between platforms. So I guess for a lot of you who are at the moment working on a product, on a digital product, I want you to take a moment to think, like, do you have the web application? Is it accessible for mobile? And do you also have a mobile application? And what is, I would say, the primary goal for your business? Like, where are you sending most of your customers? And now we are going to take a look at why is that important. So for example, Slack, which is also a very popular app for business communication, if you try to access their marketing website on your phone from the browser, all of the main CTAs are going to lead you to the store, so download the application. Now, why is this? Why are they doing? Like my best assumption is that they don't want to maintain the mobile version of their web application, because this is a very complex tool, especially now with all the additions and AI features. So they don't want to maintain so many platforms. At the same time, why this may not be always the best solution is because if you have a lot of marketing campaigns, a lot of promotions, partnerships, and you want to track where the users are coming from and then what specific users are doing in a funnel, because not all the users are going to be equally successful for the business. Like maybe, you know, some of the users that you acquired through well, let's say Facebook ads are not to convert or like not going to activate as well as those ones that found you through referrals, for example. Word of mouth is always the best like top of the funnel, just the beginning of the customer experience. And if we look at the booking.com, it's also like heavily sending you to download the application. They are using this native store widgets that you can have on top of your marketing website when the customer is searching for you on Google, Safari, or any other service. And then also, if you look at the last screen, like even if you go into their menu, they're not telling you to sign up. They're telling you download the app for Android device. So they are also like on mobile, they are heavily sending you towards their mobile application. This is an example from the same app that we had in the beginning, like the Face Yoga app. And I just wanted to show you, like you saw how much they were pushing the quiz that I had. And also like here, if we look at the CTAs in the header and then the one in the main hero section of the website, they have a different they have a different copy. They say get 50% off and take a quiz, but both of them lead you into the same direction, like both of them are forcing you to take the quiz first. So here we can see that, for example, this company is like heavily pushing for the quiz. That's their number one goal, not really like diverting users to the mobile application. But then if you scroll to the end of the home page, there is a way how you can send customers to mobile app. So by scanning this QR code, if you are looking this at the desktop, this is the easiest way how you can transition customers to the mobile device. And I just wanted to show you what happens afterwards when you kind of go into that quiz. I realized that it wasn't really optimized for the web experience. Like everything is completely optimized for mobile. And also these questions here are a little bit different. And my best assumption would be that this quiz on the web is actually a little bit outdated, which would speak to me. So like, I'm only making these assumptions as looking from the outside, but then like, of course, if I was to work for this company, this is the first data I would ask them for, or the first like, business strategy that I would ask about, like if most of the traffic is actually coming from mobile, and is that by accident, or are they actually sending people with their ads and marketing promotions, like are they sending them on purpose to mobile application, and then like they are not really maintaining this web experience so much. So why is this so important? Like if you remember our talk about drop-offs from the very beginning, that we are losing customers, a percentage of customers at every step, at every like major step in the application. This is like another roadblock or a challenge when they need to transition from one platform to another. And if we are talking about like users starting the journey or like learning about your application on the web, and then the only thing you want them to do is to download the mobile application. So for example, for me, this would be my goal, because the product that I'm working on is basically useless if you don't get a mobile application to scan the property and then get the then use the data to create the layout of the room. So like my primary goal would always be to send users to download the mobile application. And QR code is one tool that can be like very helpful in that regard. But this is like, of course, like something that that you need to define for your own product, like depending on what is the business strategy. Then if we are looking at the web presentation of the company on mobile, and then we want to send users to mobile app, the reason why most companies would do this is because then they don't have to maintain the mobile version of the web application. But as I mentioned before, you are going to lose tracking for promotions. Now, there is a way around this, but it's not in the scope of this presentation. Like I won't go deep into that, but just to tell you that don't lose hope if this is a problem you're facing. It's possible to solve it. In the last option, that like if the user has first downloaded the mobile app, let's say they heard about your product from a friend and they like immediately went to the store, downloaded the app, but then you have some features that are only accessible on the desktop. And you want to promote those features, or you want to promote desktop to the users, then you have to promote it at the right step of the flow, because otherwise you would just annoy users. Like I can't explain to you how much I hate, and I know you all have cases like this. Like whenever I take my Wolt application to order food, and I always do it at the very last moment when I'm already hungry and I see that the next meeting is coming and I don't have enough time to wait for my food delivery, and run to the meeting. And then Wolt tells me, well, this is a good time to reinstall your app. And I'm like, no, this is the worst possible time. So you have to be very intentional about that. Like, what is the good spot? Like when the customer is just about to do something and they can't find their way around in the app, but you have a feature for that. It's the best time to communicate, hey, we actually have this. Unfortunately, you have to move to the desktop environment, but hey, here's a link that you can copy and email yourself or WhatsApp yourself, whatever application you're using on both your phone and desktop, and that's how you can easily access that feature directly. You don't have to search for it in our desktop application. With that, I think we are coming to the end of our presentation, and not to scare you off with all of this, depending how familiar you are with it or not. just to tell you, like, should you ever like do anything like this and why. It's just like one way how you can be strategic about your design decisions. And I just wanted to kind of go more into the to actual work, and like from my perspective, maybe like some easier steps into how you can start with strategic design decisions while you learn your way to like talk more often to the leadership and participate more in the business strategy. But of course, if this is not your cup of tea, like please don't trust the news around the web that the only way to continue with the UX design career is to become more strategic, and that AI is going to take over all our all everything else. Those are just speculations, and of course, we don't know what's going to happen. I just wanted to offer you one perspective, and then if you are interested or as passionate about it as me, that would be the good way for you to start. Or if you were doing all of this already, then I guess another way how you can continue. And that's all. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end. This is my tag on social media. I'm most active on LinkedIn. So if you want to continue the talk and we don't manage to get her in the Gather Town afterwards, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I guess we are. I would assume out of time. Nash, how are we doing?
We're good. We got one question in the chat, so I think
Okay.
if you want to answer that, then we can wrap up.
Yeah. Um, Let me see. The one, how do I know how much information from my UX decision I can share to people? Sometimes I might be oversharing. Yes. So my advice here would be to kind of say the main point first, like almost if you thought of yourself as a news reporter and you would go on TV and you would want to, grab attention of the people. So you would say like, hey, we have a 60% drop off when people are asked to add their payment method. And then, all the business leaders are going to look at you and would be like, what? And you would then you would go like a little bit further. Yeah, like 17,000. We had a 17,000 new signups last month, and then only 40% of them added the payment method. And then you're kind of unpacking a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So I would say don't tell the story from beginning till the end, how it started and then how it's finishing, but kind of go with the most shocking words as short as you can say it. Like basically think of it as a title. Then, add like a paragraph to it that kind of explains a little bit more as if you were writing a case study. Then you kind of dig deeper. So when talking to people who are not in UX design and who are not like dealing with the problems that we are solving, they will not understand what you're talking about. So you need to kind of tell them the most important thing that tackles their area of work, and then explain to them how you can help around this. Not talk about the actual solution and how you're going to solve it. Like don't show them the design screens. Tell them what steps you would want to do to help improve the drop-offs when it comes to adding the payment methods. I hope that answers.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tatiana. As mentioned, I think you're going to be floating around the conference today. So we hope that if you have any questions, please go up to Tatiana. And really, thank you so much for your talk. Looking forward to seeing you around the conference room, and I hope everyone can ask us some questions. Thank you,
Thank
Tatiana.
you. Thanks for being such a wonderful moderator.
See you later. Bye bye.
Bye.